Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's Thursday, September 26th, 2024. This is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Thank you so much. We are going to discuss all sorts of things with you today. That guy's Blake Walley. He is on X at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. Say hello, Blake.
Hello, everybody.
There you go. Blake, if we could sum you up in a bumper sticker, a quote, a phrase, a movie, like, is there something that captures the essence of Blake Walley? I know you've considered yourself to be a gonzo journalist, a la, Hunter S. Thompson is like Fear and Loathing, and like what sums up Blake Walley to someone who's finding you for the first time? Like, what will they find if they dig through your catalog? Who is Blake?
One of the finest political and philosophical minds on the planet, Brian.
There you go.
One of the most original thinkers in the alternative media. Cutting edge of the tip of the spear for 12 years or so.
Heck yeah. Okay. That's why it's been so fun having you around, doing so many of the Agree to Disagree shows, and of course all the crazy live events. What's the most memorable live event that we've covered? Are there a couple
January 6th? Oh, no, yeah, probably January 6th. I mean, it's hard to beat that one. Of course, yeah, Bundy Ranch, and conventions like the RNC in Cleveland was great.
That was.
I love the DNC in DNC in Philadelphia, 2016. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's been a lot of events, but I think those would be the standouts.
Yeah.
Although it was fun in Chicago and Milwaukee this year. We didn't get credentialed. It wasn't quite as fruitful, but it was still good times.
But we were credentialed with the libertarians, with Vivek talking to everybody, with Trump and RFK talking to everybody. Like, that was a pretty interesting moment there. Credentialed for that one.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
That one was a good one too. But yeah, check out Blake's archive, The Next Level News, and of course on X at TV's Blake Walley. On today's program, I'm Brian Engelman, by the way. Thanks for finding us. Subscribe to the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show in all of the places. Please like it, thumbs up, all the things. On today's show, we're going to talk about Kamala. Should we take comfort in her plans? Will she bring back the American dream? And should we be inspired because of inspiration? I've played this so many times. The little clip when Bart Simpson has to give a book report on a book he didn't read. This is Kamala. We're living inside of a cuckoo clock, coming off of 3.5 years of Biden. But anyway, we'll get into it. We're also going to ask about Mayor Eric Adams. Was he indicted because he wasn't playing ball? Was he not a fan of the globalist agenda ruining his city? Well, I went to the Bronx and I listened to people in their words. They're not happy either. But it seems like the deep state's going after him now. We'll unpack it. Also, is this the first assassination investigation, Blake, or the second assassination investigation, or the series of assassination investigations? Either way.
Specifically Butler, Pennsylvania, the first one on July 13th.
Is it being intentionally stonewalled? That is the question. And finally, the Leftist Project 2025 is worse than the Heritage Foundation. These topics and more will be discussed on today's show, so please leave your comments on the sidebar. We will try to incorporate them as possible. And let's go.
Okay.
All right, Blake, bear with me. My computational power is significantly retarded from where it was just a week ago, maybe just one show ago. Wow, it's like running in slow motion. Like, you ever try to run underwater? You're like, I'll get there really fast. The hell you will.
Yeah, we almost didn't have the show today, so we thought there might be a test show or that I would just run a quick one. I don't know if my internet can handle the brunt of that, of streaming to multiple channels at once, but Brian was able to get some last-minute computer repairs done.
Yeah, super last minute. I won't bore anyone with the details, but my God, if you're buying a new product, get a good one that has a lot of power to it because they degrade pretty quickly with upgrades and whatnot. And if you go to Best Buy or wherever, you get the extended warranty, get that extra plan. That is the biggest piece of advice I could give you on your device. If it's a significant purchase, please make sure that you get that coverage. No, I'm not. We are not sponsored by one of those companies, but I encourage you to do so. But yeah, I'm also giving up maybe seeing one of my favorite bands of all time. They're in my backyard and they're playing going to be playing right now-ish. So yeah, it's
Well, you didn't have to, Brian. I would have been happy to do whatever. I don't know.
I know, but it's my dedication to being consistent in what I crank out, in what we produce, the value we bring the people that find the Agree to Disagree show. In the end of the day, seeing Highly Suspect would be fantastic, especially on the big stage at a big rock festival right in my backyard. However,
we could have rescheduled this whole thing, man. I don't want to. Yeah.
No, this is a me thing. This is a me.
If the Black Keys or the Dandy Warhols were playing in town, I would be sorry, Brian. Can you do the show without me today, or can we do it later? But it's all good. I appreciate your dedication, Brian. But
it is all good.
You went through all that trouble to get your computer running today because you wouldn't have been able to do a show without it. You could have gone to that concert, and instead you are here. Okay, well.
And you know what? If the show wraps quick enough, maybe I could go anyway. No, we're just kidding. Anyway,
I'd be happy with it, Brian. As you know, it's one of the running things we have on this thing because I've probably told you, I don't know, over under 200 times. Can we do a really quick show today, 60 to 90 minutes? Which is
This is the one. This is the one.
This is the one. All right. So you can get your concert. We can cover the major stories of the day. And we
because by the way, it's not just Highly Suspect. It's also Slipknot, Offspring. Like there's 100 bands playing over the weekend that would be fun to check out. Miss Ginger Powder, glad you're here. Hey, thank you so much. Pete Diddy in the backyard. Yes.
Oh, and our favorite FBI handler or whoever's watching this, right?
Bless
people want to group themselves in with the same candidate who terrorized and rioted in the Capitol of January 6th. Did that look like they were terrorizing? I saw a lot of people just peacefully walking through there like tourists.
I would say it was Nancy Pelosi. I would say it was Nancy Pelosi that terrorized the people on the Capitol.
Yeah, why didn't they have the National Guard there that they asked for multiple times? That is 100% Trump was trying to do that. None of that ever should have happened. None of it.
It was all a concoction from Pelosi so that they could hurry up and make sure they didn't go to alternate electors and they didn't get a chance to debate it on the floor and kick it back to the states where it should have been to get an accurate sorting out of the effery that occurred. But Pelosi got her right.
Badly misinformed.
I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. There's a delay. Go ahead, Blake.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, Ashley, you're being misinformed. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. We were actually there. We know what we're talking about.
And by the way, the Ashley that we care about from January 6th would be Ashley Babbitt, the veteran mother of another race that was shot by a man through the neck. The only bullet fired that day was killing that woman. So yeah, we care about that, Ashley. Yeah, J6 late beer. Okay, Blake, let's get to this. Agree or disagree that Americans should take comfort in the Kamala plan?
No, what plan? I still don't really know.
You did a big interview yesterday. It's a major award. It's a big deal, Blake. It's a big deal. She did a major interview, right? We should all be impressed.
Yeah, I guess she did it with, by herself. I guess that's a big win. She wasn't there with Tim Walz like coaching her on CNN. Yeah, she won't take spontaneous questions, but I guess they got her prepped as much as they could.
What about the earrings? Did she have the earrings in?
I don't know if I entirely.
Oh, her ears are covered, very intentionally covered here. That's a strange hairdo. She doesn't want people to. Okay, anyway, we'll take.
No, I'm going to say no because it's also because she's getting criticized. Of course, that's the thumbnail. Is all the word salads she delivered.
Do you have a picture of the word salad to pop on screen? I don't know if I could get it from my side, but
of the thumbnail today.
Yeah, the only way it would have been funnier is if you found like an extra fork or two, like comically oversized forks in one hand, and then
I wonder if
Kamala's word salad.
Whoops.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can do that. Let's see here. I know I could probably add oversized forks. I had more time. That's a cool one. Here we go.
Oh, can you invert it? Oh, look, you can do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to quite to put it. There we go.
Yeah, that's all right back there. Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of pitchforks and torches, like word salad and forks, pitchforks, salad. You see how the fork just adds an extra goofy dimension to it?
For sure. All right.
All right, we'll play around with that one later. But let's talk about the interview. Well done, bravo! Give it up for Blake. Blake makes some of the funniest thumbnails around. Appreciate it as always.
Yay!
So let's talk about Kamala. How'd she do, Blake?
Well, it was a pre-recorded interview. Kamala once again failed to deliver any substantive outline of her policies, primarily just attacking Donald Trump's outlook in his first term in office. And at one point, speaking about the economy, Harris appeared to suggest, in stark contrast to Trump, that the American dream is dead and buried. That's another topic in our stack. But we can start with this one about lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. And what do you say to them? And so here we go. Let's chalk up the first video.
Madam Vice President, you just laid out your economic vision for the future. Yeah. But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. I have to tell you.
So do you take comfort in that, Brian? You're in her plan. I'm in her plan. And I sure as shit don't make $400,000 a year, but yeah. So, I mean, do I feel hopeful for the future under Kamala? Are you convinced, Brian, the next 4 years going to be delightful?
That was pretty convincing so far if you're a hard worker or something.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep rolling.
I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic. But not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it.
Okay. Keep in mind, she's still in office right now. She could be doing this for the last few years. What has she been doing? I think that's one of the talking points they keep hammering her on. Why is this going to be different? But she was, praising Bidenomics. And now I guess we're expecting things are going to be much different as soon as she takes over. Are we taking comfort? I don't know if people should, but we'll keep rolling.
An opportunity economy is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right? I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead.
Well, again, nothing really, there's no substance there, Brian.
It's
word salad. It's meaningless. It's just throwing out words.
I don't even know if there's nothing there. I think there's actually something there. Like when we talk about in the cosmos, there's what do they call it? Black matter, dark matter, matter. And a lot of people say they don't know what it is, but it takes up a mass. Like it's there, but they don't know how to.
Maybe allegedly.
Yeah, there's several theories, of course. Yeah, we'll talk to Mike about that. See what he thinks. But I think there's less than nothing there. I think the tangible takeaway is a negative takeaway. I think all of that rambling, intentionally saying nothing, I think these add up negative points. It's not just that she put up zeros, she put up -1, -3, -5. Like we're into the -30 and we've barely gotten through the first question yet. Like I'm rubbing my forehead, my eyes are hurting, my ears are hurting, my soul is hurting. I'm going to award her -30 points on that first answer. It's pathetic. This is the kid that didn't read the book and he's trying to give a book review in front of the class and just stalling and talking about what's on the cover of the book. Like there's nothing there. There's no there. It's negative. It's awful.
Yeah, that's pretty much a disaster beginning to end. Let's run another clip about her American dream. That's also one of the captions, but they can all kind of tie together in this little display here with Stephanie Rule in comfortable territory there on MSNBC. But we'll get back. We'll get to some of the analysis too.
Home ownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. Gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dream. So,
yeah, no thanks to your administration.
Home ownership for.
So,
and by the way, how many she brought in 30 million illegal aliens, 30 million non-Americans to compete for housing.
Let's just say maybe 20, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, at that point, with
40,
20 million, 30 million.
If we don't know, how are we estimating low? Let's estimate high. This is insanity. So
yeah, might as well. We have 20 gotaways, right? Who knows? They haven't really kept track of all the numbers.
So Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Barack Hussein Obama have been flooding America with non-Americans. And they're competing for the same housing, which is driving the pricing up. So Kamala's to blame here. Okay?
Yeah, a lot of people, they're not getting they're getting moved out of their apartments for the rent because they're giving these illegal immigrants more money. And so the actual residents of the area are having to leave. They can't keep up with the rent payments. And these other people are just getting, government checks. So it's insane.
And that's what the people of Springfield have been crying out for help regarding.
Right. And yes, it's all over the place. Everywhere is getting flooded with illegal immigrants. Here we go. Here's another clip.
It includes also what we must do to cut red tape. You're absolutely right. It takes far too long, and there's too much bureaucracy associated with home building. And I say that as a devout public servant. I know that we have to reduce the red tape and speed up what we need to do around building. And that is going to require working from the federal level with state and local governments. And it's going to be different in different places.
So she's just telling people what they want to hear, but her track record suggests she's not going to do any of these things. And she didn't do any of these things as VP or as senator. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
So
all of it.
Did we get the American Dream quote? Was that the first one?
That was that quick 9-second one here. Let's run it again.
Home ownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. Gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dream.
There we go. My head was so wrapped up in the housing component, I didn't even hear the second part of that sentence. I was already I had 3 sentences spilling out of my mouth, and I didn't know how to. I couldn't even hear the end of that sentence. Yeah. So, the American dream is gone thanks to Kamala bringing in 50 million illegal aliens, 50 million non-American citizens to compete for your housing. It's only 18 million, Brian. It's only 21 million. What's the difference? 22 billion. You don't just take a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, and dump 30,000
work and
fans of the University of Michigan. You don't dump 30,000 Pittsburgh Steeler fans. The cultures are different. The communities are different. The shared history is different. You don't do that to a community. You don't dump Haitians there. You don't dump anybody so that they can build enclaves and start kind of taking over counties and states. This is the Obama doctrine. This is what we've seen across the globe. And I guess I fully understand the end game, but I don't understand why anybody would be okay with it. So, yeah. If you're upset the American dream is gone, you can blame Kamala, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama, Blake.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. As things have gone downhill dramatically. Things were great under Trump during his first term until we had the pandemic destroyed everything. And I have faith that bringing him back would make things much better, and that by continuing with these policies from Kamala, from Biden, from Obama are probably going to be bad. And they're going to get worse. And I have no hope that things are going to turn around. It's just a lot of empty promises. So let's talk about her clear and direct answers, which she didn't have much of. Let's take a look at this clip.
Work, and one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
So that's another defense. Yeah, they're trying to defend it. They're spinning this now. Yes, they had an embarrassing interview. They gave her, softball interview in a nice, comfy, secure, environment with MSNBC and Stephanie Rule, and she was still unable to give any clear and direct answers. And now they're just saying, well, they weren't really, it wasn't really. Let's hear this. It wasn't really clear and direct.
One could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
Yes,
okay.
we are.
It's not clear and direct issues.
Well, you know what? You're making your sales pitch. This is your job interview. You want to show up and not have any questions about the company. You want to show up and demonstrate a lack of specificity, a lack of focus and clarity and of thought. If you want to establish a non-defined path forward, that's on you. You're choosing to take the limited time we have left between now and voting moment to waste it, to run out the clock doing nothing. Well, you know what? Check the scoreboard, Kamala. You can run out the clock all you want. You're never going to win this game. Your only hope is to go on offense and start hitting some Hail Marys, getting some onside kicks, because you are going to get trounced in this. This is not even going to be remotely close. You want to run out the clock? Good luck with that, sweetheart. Good luck running out the clock. You're trailing by 28 with 6 minutes left to go in the game. Run out the clock all you want, Blake. That's what I say.
Yeah, I hear you. This should be a disaster if we can trust the results of the election. We'll keep running. I'm going to see the end of this clip here with Chris Hayes. I haven't even seen the rest of it.
The question about inflation and prices. This to me is it's sort of one of the most frustrating aspects of this campaign. The thing that people are 100% correctly
Yeah, what do they even say? How do they defend her? I mean, they are really doing everything they can to prop her up and make her seem like a viable candidate. But even in a pre-recorded interview, they had trouble doing it. And it doesn't help. And then when she goes off script, it gets even worse. So we can take a look at this one about her inspiration. What was the caption on this one?
Americans should be inspired because of inspiration.
Sure.
This is so Bart Simpson in front of the class on The Simpsons. This is classic.
Yeah, so let's take a look at Kamala here.
She is so unqualified, so cringe. All right.
It just keeps getting worse, but let's watch the cringe.
We need to guard that spirit. We have to guard that spirit. Let it always inspire us. Let it always be the source of our optimism, which is that spirit that is so uniquely American. And let that then inspire us by helping us to be inspired to solve the problems that so many face, including our small business owners.
do we get to hear that? When we're getting it just she talks in
She's got the buzzwords, but then she has a hard time like putting it all together coherently.
What is that twisted?
The way that a natural speaker would do that, huh?
Is it called an infinity loop, Blake? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard the term, but I don't actually know what that means offhand.
So it's like let me see if I can share you on the screen. It'll just be easier to describe. Hold on one second. I'd like to record this computer screen. Open system preferences. Sorry, I'm starting from scratch here. It's taking me somewhere. Sorry, hang on. I might not be able to do this. This is going to be weird. But I'll try one more time.
Okay.
Oh, I think it worked. Okay.
Infinity loop.
Yeah, so it's an amazing endless infinity loop. So if you look at it, what's the easiest one to look at? But when you spin it and then retape it, you're always on the same, like, it's one eternal band. Anyway, what I'm saying is when she gets into her word salad, it's like she hits the corner saying it's inspiration, and then she hits it on the backside and it's inspirational. And it's just, you're just in this never-ending repetitive loop of word salad, Blake. It's just, you're catching these words coming and going. She knows the buzzwords, but yeah, they get mixed around in the popcorn machine sometimes. And then they come up on the ping pong ball a couple too many times. You know, it's like, oh, I used inspiration 2 or 3 times in these 2 or 3 sentences. I need to.
Sometimes he's using it like 4 or 5 times in a row, the same buzzword. So it's not exactly a clear or direct answer, was what she is being criticized for, rightfully, and that's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm, have anything personal, but I mean, she's running for president. You've got to be a better speaker than that.
And well, this is exactly why she's being hidden from people,
right? But I mean, this is how they're campaigning. Now it's on the media to try to prop her up and look like she's got her stuff together, but she doesn't, even in the easiest of situations. And, of course, she's hasn't done many of these interviews. Like the second one, the first one, she was basically having Tim Walz hold her hand through it. And now she's on her own and still pre-recorded and still couldn't deliver what she wants to, her agenda for the American people, her vision. So let's take a look at this article. 5 embarrassing moments from the interview. And then even Stephanie Ruhle here from MSNBC conceded that Harris couldn't give a clear and direct answer.
Yeah, and this is her opportunity to convince the world why we should trust her with all of the most important stuff. Let her run out the clock and say a whole bunch of nothing if she wants. Like, fail, nope, pass. You got to be kidding me, Democrats. You really put this person up? Really? This was better than Biden? Some would argue that Biden would have been better than this. But yeah, let her run out the clock. Let her say all sorts of nothing. She's not ahead and has to protect her lead. She is so far behind. It's going to take a miracle. Hook and ladder plays, flea flickers, all sorts of trickery and luck. Instead, she thinks she has it in the bag, and she does not. It's a really bad strategy, but also she doesn't have much of a skill set, so she can't really bring the heat because she doesn't. It's like that Adam Sandler skit with the goat. He said, "Put up your goat, put up your dukes." I said, "I'm a goat. I ain't got no dukes." She has no dukes. She can't put up her dukes. She can't hit these big time plays because she's not much of a football player. She can't throw the ball 50 yards downfield. So, I mean, we're just watching a very embarrassing result of what the Democrats did to prop up weekend at Biden's for 3.5 years, while the deep state just kind of ran interference and went after the good guys. So, hopefully this comes crashing down in a couple of days, couple weeks, whenever early voting starts. And if you can actually watermark and number the ballots and keep our vote secure, this should be an absolute trouncing of her. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. It's just whether the people will see that. And then I don't, if we have good oversight and integrity in the actual election, and if there's a, peaceful transfer of power and that.
Yeah, that's
So
a whole
those
other
are,
story. What will it take to get the Democrats out of DC once they're ran out of town? Kenneth is saying, I like that. He says, I trust her ability to screw us.
yeah.
Nice, Kenneth. I agree too. I trust her ability to screw us for sure. Okay, Blake, anything else we want to add on this lousy candidate?
Grew up in a middle class family. Yeah, she keeps even repeating the same go-tos. I want to see this one. She's used. Here's another one of her buzzwords. She used the word holistic 3 times in a 15-second period.
Yeah, she's on the infinity loop. She just kind of keeps running into it.
Yeah, so here we go.
And assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing. And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Yeah, so her advisors are getting her to use the specific buzzwords, which, have power and, add some kind of a value to it, but not when you keep using them over and over again. Then it just starts to backfire and look bad.
All right. Well, let's talk about if that's all we have here on Kamala. You're talking about something backfiring and looking bad. Well, I kind of like this one. I kind of like this next story. Blake, anything more on Kamala?
I think we could give it a rest. There's a lot of video clips. I know there's one with Nicole Wallace. I can't find them all, and we need to watch them all. I think we have the basic idea here that Kamala really isn't qualified at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, I think something backfiring on them should be our next one, talking about 2025. They keep repeating this 2025 thing. The Democrats are obsessed with this 2025 thing. But guess what's happening? It's being tossed back on them in a reverse infinity loop. And I'm here for it. I'm old enough to remember, Blake, when fake news was something that Hillary Clinton said once. She said fake news about somebody, about something, Trump, something Republican. Oh, did the Republicans and Trump turn it around to call the lying legacy media fake news, and the world has never been the same? If nothing else, President Trump needs a ton of credit from waking a lot of people up from their hypnosis over thinking that lying legacy media was your friend. They were neutral. They were accurate. They were honest. They were not being bribed and blackmailed. There's no unscrambling those eggs. So kudos to Trump for doing the reverse Uno card there. Let's talk about this one. Blake, agree or disagree that the Leftist Project 2025 is worse than Heritage Foundation?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. It's hilarious. Donald Trump was kind of trolling Kamala and the Democrats. So he put out this graphic because they keep trying to wrongfully attribute this Project 2025, which came from the Heritage Foundation. It wasn't from Donald Trump. And it's, kind of an old school conservative mentality. I don't think it's as nearly as bad as they're trying to make it out to be, but it is definitely, it would be kind of a step backward for some people that are more progressively minded. And I could understand why people would take issue with a few of the subjects. But the point is that it's still not Trump's policy. But then comparing that one with, and also let me point out real quick, this is actually from the website, and I had trouble finding the exact list outlining what all their policies are. I knew I could find it before, but I was looking for it on Twitter and Google, and I just was unable to find the exact list. I just have some of the exaggerated lists put out by the leftists. But I do want to point out that even on the Project 2025 page, they show how the USA Today, they did a fact check on that, and it's they even said that it's not Donald Trump's, even though you keep seeing them put out that talking point. And even Kamala got away with it at the last debate. And of course, the moderators didn't push back on it. But Project 2025 is Heritage Foundation. It is not Donald Trump. But they're still proud of it, and they're allowed to put it out and promote it as much as they want. That's their deal. So it's a historic movement from them, brought together. They have 100 respected organizations in the conservative movement, and their effort is to take down the deep state and return government to the people, maybe trying to bring back more of a golden age of America. And some of it's common sense, some of it is a little bit more, obviously more conservative leaning. So when they talk about, they want to ban biological males from competing in women's sports, for example, and the Democrats will twist that as though they are like anti, LGBTQ. But
no, there's only one policy choice on that, and that's that the reason the sexes have been separated is because they're going to stay separated. We may stay away from them at all times. But there's no legitimate opposition to saying, yeah, a dude should participate in ladies sports. No thanks. That's just a non-starter. Just like you shouldn't have mangled perfectly healthy children. That's a non-starter. But yeah, that's not a bad thing. I don't know if that's what they're trying to bust Trump for with 2025 or not, but that's pretty common sense. That's why lady and male sports have been separated from the beginning of time. Otherwise, there would be no competition. The top 100 athletes in all these physical sports, it's always going to be all men. 99% of the time, 98% of the time. So,
well, Brian, maybe you're just anti-LGBTQ and you're going after the gay community. You're trying to repeal protections for the LGBTQ plus Americans.
Oh, are those the buzzwords they're using? Repealing protections? No, we're trying to keep protections for the ladies. Just trying to play some volleyball. Shut up, creep.
Right. And some of their policy, some of their policy might be a little more conservative on like the abortion and all that. I'm not going to get into that. But the point is that's not Donald Trump's platform, no matter what. He's not instituting some, federal abortion ban. That's ridiculous. So they make up a lot of stuff. But Donald Trump, he put this tweet out, which is nice. I'd like to see him more on Twitter more. But mocking. So what would Kamala's Project 2025 that be? Saying citizenship for 20 million illegals. Yeah. Banning gas-powered cars, replacing police with social workers, banning fracking, transgender surgeries for minors, taxpayer-funded reparations, packing the Supreme Court, government and big tech censorship, cashless bail for violent criminals, federal takeover of elections, using tax dollars to fund abortions, enforcing racist affirmative action, mandating vaccinations, and requiring government approval to buy a gun. So maybe some of these are slightly exaggerated, but it's not too far from. And I got to say, Brian, if I had to live in a world either under the Heritage Foundation 2025 or under Kamala's, what they will actually do, the radical leftists who have been misrepresenting Project 2025, I think I'd rather live in the Heritage Foundation, even though I'd be outspoken on a few things, but I think getting rid of some of these federal departments are a good idea. So it's hard to say. I mean, we could definitely go into here's what his 20 core promises. This is what this is his actual platform. We've gone over those. Those are all common sense, and they've made those so you can get a lot of people to agree with what's being said. Whereas here's the other Project 2025. It's not the exact list. This is one from the leftists, but it's they're saying it's a complete ban on abortions without exceptions. More tax breaks for the upper 1%, raising the retirement age, which they might have to do cutting Social Security and Medicare and ending the Affordable Care Act.
Well, as far as all that stuff, like I don't even need to repeat the lefty lies about that stuff.
Yeah, where they say like banning books, but it's really just banning some of like the hardcore gay sex type of stuff that really shouldn't be in like elementary schools. So I think they have kind of reasonable ideas. They're critical of some of the, of the critical race theory, for example. Or they're saying ending marriage equality. I don't know if all of that stuff is entirely true, but it's certainly not Trump's platform regardless.
Nope.
But what is the Kamala and the leftist platform? Yeah, it's some pretty radical shit. And I'm not going to, this whole like granting amnesty to 20 million illegal aliens it's a non-starter for me. What they've done as far as defunding police and their transgender lunacy, especially when it comes to minors, that's also and I agree with you there, Brian. It's a non-starter. And of course, they want to pack the Supreme Court so they can get their way. And I don't like what they're doing is with the censorship or the elections or mandating vaccines. They have some pretty insane stuff. So,
and by the way, even if you go on Google and try to type in President Trump's plan, they show you Trump's Project 2025. That's right there on the top. Look at this shit. I really need to stop using this terrible browser. Google is a terrible company.
Right. I used it through Start Page, but they still use their Google. But yeah, I was looking
right on the top row. I put in what's President Trump's plan, and then they put in something that Horowitz wrote. They have Trump's Project 20. This is not Trump's plan. In fact, I scroll down. I can't even find it. That chart.
Yeah, either can I. I've been having trouble. I remember when it first came out, when it was a big hot topic, it was easy to find. And now all of a sudden, I can't get the nice little bullet pointed stuff, which I've covered it before. And it's like, yeah, it's like 90s conservative, 90s religious conservative, like wrote it, which isn't, that horrific. But yeah, it looks like it's taking a step backward, and it's not really what I would call progressive. But I would just disagree with the modern leftist version of progressive, which is just completely unhinged radical.
And by the way, just in rapid fire form, if you go to donaldjtrump.com, am I still sharing this? I think so.
Yeah.
There you go. Go to donaldjtrump.com/platform. Seal the border, stop the migrant invasion, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. End inflation and make America affordable again. That sounds great. Make America the dominant energy provider in the world by far. Stop outsourcing and turn the U.S. into a manufacturing superpower. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield across our country. But anyway, I need to plug in the battery here because it's getting low. But this is where the actual plan for Trump is. But when you type in Google, they give you fake news. Google is not a company you should trust. Blake, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And his real agenda is something that most people could agree upon. And I think that's how we should be putting it out. You want to get as many people voting for you as possible. You want to get as many people on the same page as possible. You don't want to force people to go along with certain agendas that are extreme. It should be like the bare minimum that we all agree upon. And if certain states want to do their own thing, that's up to them.
Yeah. Well, the choice is very clear. Please get out and vote. It's time to fix this country. We are in deep trouble if we do not get on track. Clicking buttons. I'm in too much of a lag. So, like I said, everything is in molasses, Blake. So anyway, yeah, I like Trump calling it the Leftist 2025 plan or the Lefty Project 2025. What's he call it? The Kamala's Agenda 2025. Whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly. Was it on there? Let me pull it back up. Yep, there it is. Kamala's Project 2025. So that's all fair again. That's an awesome response, and people need to see that. Is how insane it is. Even if it's slightly exaggerated on certain things, it's not far from. And you could even make some of that stuff worse.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything else on this, we got 2 more stories here, and we're going to wrap it up nice and tidy. Let's just kind of stay on Trump and Kamala. Let's talk about this assassination investigation and whether or not it is being intentionally stonewalled. That is the question. All right,
Okay.
Blake, what say you? Agree or disagree that President Trump's Pennsylvania assassination attempt is being intentionally stonewalled? Agree or disagree?
Oh, 100% agree. Yeah, they should have already had this full investigation done already. It shouldn't have been that difficult, but apparently the roads are leading to uncomfortable places as to actually who is responsible, and nobody wants to take the blame, and that should be obvious. And yeah, there could be people facing criminal charges at the very highest levels if they meddled with Trump's security on that terrible day in Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th. So this is a breaking report. Biden-Harris administration stonewalling Congress investigation into the first Trump assassination attempt. So they're published by the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. It documents the massive security breakdown against Trump. The investigation spearheaded by Ron Johnson, Gary Peters, Rand Paul, even Richard Blumenthal, who was, a Democrat, but he's been very fair about this and says, he's shocked. So it's actually like a true bipartisan panel of people that are just concerned overall. And it's not a hyper-partisan type of issue like, the January 6th committee. They're dismissed key people like Jim Jordan so that they could put in Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger.
Oh, yeah.
So they could be the hyper-partisan hackery. But anyway, among the notable takeaways from this report are allegations that relevant agencies within the administration are refusing to provide records necessary to the investigation. So key requests to the FBI, DHS, the ATF, and the Secret Service remain outstanding. So they're still not doing anything. I wonder why. Specifically highlighted, the majority of documents provided by the Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security are heavily redacted. How are they redacted when you're supposed to give it to these Congress people? Like, how dare? I mean, these people should be subpoenaed. They should be held in contempt. Mayorkas and Christopher Wray should be. They should be in the gulag in D.C. until they start answering questions. No, we don't want redactions. We want to know what happened. And if they're stonewalling it, it's because they're complicit. And if that's the case, then they're the ones that should be, rated by the. I mean, are they going to do it with their own agencies? So we've got a pretty serious problem here.
Yeah, America's been overthrown in a coup. Like, this is really bad. Like, the reason the New American Media logo has turned into an upside down flag is because we're a nation in distress. This is just, it's unfathomable that this has been allowed to happen. I was having a conversation with somebody today, and they were bringing up that, so-and-so says this is all just a military sting to catch everybody, but it was going to take a long time. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not eating hopium. I'm not going to get addicted to that. The amount of suffering, the untold suffering over the past several years, I mean, several decades if you want to go back, but how could you possibly allow this to continue so long? Everybody is so obviously guilty of what they're guilty of. It's almost theoretically, mathematically impossible that all of this stuff could be accidental. The same cast of players are up to the same criminal acts. And it's just a matter of, does anyone want to see it or not? But yeah, I told that person, like, I can't. I would love to be pleasantly surprised by that stuff, but people were talking about that 4 years ago, going, there's no way Biden's going to steal this thing. There's no way. There's no way they'll let him get away with this. Guess what? 3.5 years later, oh yeah, trust a plan. Well, how about the plan is you let him steal the election from you? You couldn't prove otherwise. No court has proven otherwise. Finders keepers. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And we're just like stuck in this Looney Tune, like this cartoon. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to make sense of this. Yeah, like scrambled brains. It's scrambling my brain. But yeah, they definitely tried to get a snuff film and get Trump's brain scrambled on TV. That's why CNN was there to record it. Allegedly. Wasn't CNN also with that guy with Ashley Babbitt? Wasn't that guy yelling in the stairwell? Wasn't he a CNN employee? What was that guy's name?
No, what was his Sullivan? John Sullivan, I think, from Utah. He was an Antifa radical leftist, and he got
was
paid.
Also a CNN correspondent. He also was paid to deliver.
Right, he was there that day, and he got paid like $70,000 for some of his footage from inside the Capitol. But yeah, he was a provocateur, and he is, I believe, behind bars.
And that was yelling and instigating in that hallway to ratchet up the tension, which led that scared, murdering cop to pull the trigger and knock her throat out and kill her right there in the hall.
Yeah, he basically encouraged Ashley Babbitt to, proceed through that doorway.
And it was also yelling in the hall, in the stairwell, so that the people on the other side would think it's much more raucous than it was. And that's similar to what the Hollywood editors did when the Unselect Committee framed President Trump for something on January 6th. They called it an insurrection. It absolutely was not. But they added fight sounds and grunting and yelling and screaming and swearing and noises. They added artificial sound so that they could make it sound scarier. It's like the AR-15. Oh, well, it looks scarier. It's the same as this one right here, but it looks scarier. We must ban it. It's an assault. So, these people are just absolutely intentionally deceptive at almost every turn, Blake. So, I wouldn't trust them to run an investigation of who took my Hot Pockets out of the break room freezer last weekend, let alone who took a shot at President Trump. So, yeah, this is insane. And we need parallel investigations outside of what's happening there. That's for damn sure. I don't trust them at all, Blake.
No, they don't deserve any trust at this point anymore. It's a crisis of confidence, and I'm down to scale these programs back and put some new people in there. I don't know if we still had Tim in studio here, but I would love to hear. I don't know if he was at the what was it? Not the Freedom Ranch. Where was he? In Colorado. I want to hear about his experience if he met Ben, and going to get some clarity on some of these things he's putting out about galactic energy and such. But we'll see. He might have bailed already. But interesting commentary. Good to see Tim back. We'll follow up at some point. All right. So what else do we have? We've got one more story, Brian.
Yeah, we got one more, and it's kind of like the breaking news story of the day. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, but just something weird is occurring right now. Trying to make sense of exactly what it is. Is it related to Diddy? Is it related to the invasion of America? Is it all of the above? None of the above? Let's unpack what's happening to the mayor of New York City. New York City. All right, this is the breaking news story. Let's get to it. Agree or disagree that Mayor Eric Adams was indicted for not playing ball? What say you, Blake?
probably agree with that. I think that if he would have kept his mouth shut about, criticizing immigration or whatever, and all the illegal aliens that have come and flooded New York, maybe he'd still be in power. I think that's kind of one of those things where they hold things over on you. They know they got you compromised, you're blackmailed, and then as long as you play ball, you'll be all right. They'll protect you. But if he starts rebelling and starts getting, too powerful, starts becoming a threat, then they will knock you down a peg, including having you raided and destroyed. So here's the news: is Eric Adams, mayor of New York, his residence was raided by federal agents amid an indictment at the Gracie Mansion early Thursday morning, executing a search warrant connected to looming corruption indictment. Let's check out. I got a few articles here. Eric Adams becomes the first sitting New York City mayor to face criminal charges. And there's actually a lot of people within his administration. This is even out of the New York Times. All the people that were either indicted, resigning, have resigned, or maybe reassigned, charged, retiring, or pleading. So, this videotape statement from Mayor Adams saying it's now my belief federal government intends to charge me with federal crimes. And if so, these charges will be entirely false and based on lies. Let's hear it from him.
I'm not hearing anything. Let me pull that up. Where is this?
Oh, I didn't have it up. My bad.
No.
Okay.
But we'll get to it.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
Okay, there you have it from him. But he's being criticized from his own party, AOC here, saying she doesn't not see how Mayor Adams can continue governing in New York City. The flood of resignations and vacancies are threatening government function. Nonstop investigations will make it impossible to recruit and retain a qualified administration, and that he should resign for the good of the city. And here's his charges. The indictment has been unsealed. He's got charges including conspiracy theory, wire fraud, bribery, and solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. I guess there's a lot of Turkish government officials that were seeking to gain influence over him, and he was going to cut some kind of a deal with some new consulate or something that they were trying to build. Also there's a timeline of his indictment, and it's been going back a while. This one's just starting back from 2023, but it actually goes much farther than that. So he was even mentioning that they were going after him for stuff from 20 years ago. And I'm going to pull up another tab here when he was running for mayor. And one of the few highlights I could actually show from Andrew Yang, who called him out for his corruption. So let's check this out.
Eric, we all know that you've been investigated for corruption everywhere you've gone. City, state, even Barack Obama's Department of Justice investigated you. You've achieved the rare trifecta of corruption investigations. Is that really what we want in the next mayor? You think you're going to enter City Hall and it's going to be different? We all know it's going to be exactly the same. That's why so many people on the stage don't want you to be mayor. Like everywhere you've gone, Eric, people look and see that You don't pay attention to the rules of the road. You're unprincipled. You know, like you actually advised New Yorkers last summer to go confront their neighbors over illicit fireworks, and a woman followed your advice, Shatavia Walls, and she lost her life. Eric.
Yeah, so nothing new, but he still won. And probably, yeah, because they can control him because he's compromised. But if he goes rogue, starts doing things that he shouldn't be doing, you know, he's got to defend the insanity with the illegal invasion. And so that was a shock to the system. So they're probably trying to flush him out now. But it also, like you said before, it could have something to do with Diddy, because Diddy is tied to some New York politicians. And, well, I mean, not just New York. I mean, I'm sure it's everywhere. So he could be embroiled in that. So he's becoming a loose end, and they have to finally flush him down.
And there was something about a judge that just offed himself in New York as well. That was a story. I shared that yesterday, I think, on Instagram, maybe on X. Yeah, a judge just said goodbye. But some of the Diddy stories were that he had dirt on New York politicians. It was very specifically New York politicians. It seems as though Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is leading a coup to remove Eric Adams. She doesn't like him. She hasn't liked him for a while. For what reason? I don't know. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. When you are successful in staging a coup to remove the president, I mean, they got rid of Biden. I mean, are you surprised that they're going to turn on more of their own? I mean, it starts to get kind of funny because they'll always come after you. You're not safe by being among this group of really unprincipled, dangerous control freaks. Joining their team isn't like, hey, I'm getting on the winning team. They're going to get you too. That's what these people don't understand. There really is no joining the bad guys. You will get taken out by them just as easily as you will by the opponent. If you ever question stepping out of, lockstep. If you ever march out of line, if you ever have an original thought, you are destroyed. And they make an example out of you, and then in the back rooms and over dinner, it's just kind of brought up and mentioned, hey, I mean, come on. I know you're not feeling this policy, but you know how we do. We all rally around the plan, and you certainly don't want to end up like Eric Adams. I'm not saying I would ever. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying we know what happens to people when they step out of line. You don't want to be like them, do you? And, you know, that's how this game is played. So I don't know. I think we'll see how it all shakes out, Blake. What else do we know about Eric Adams? I know it's all breaking and we'll have plenty to unpack over the next few days, but what else did we want to add as we wrap this up?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more because it's all, breaking, and they just unsealed the indictments and take it from there. But I mean, there's a lot of people embroiled, as you can see on that graphic. A lot of people are, either indicted, resigning, resigned, reassigned, retiring, charged, or pleaded. So it's a big mess. So hopefully they'll all turn on each other, and we'll get rid of a lot of that corruption out of there. Hopefully replace it with something better, but they've got a pretty big mess there. And you already had de Blasio, and you had Cuomo stepping down. You got enough problems with the hideous Hochul. So New York is a mess.
Yeah, it really is. And the residents of the Bronx were not happy when I went there and interviewed them in person either. So, let's see if they're able to turn New York red. Why not? What the hell else you got to lose, says Trump. What do you got to lose? Give it a try. And I think he's right. I think the residents are really frustrated. Up and at them. Anyway, okay. Then, Blake, that's all I got for today.
Yeah, that's fine. It's going to be a short show. We didn't really know if we were going to get one off anyway, so we're just going to try to keep it simple just in case we had any tech issues or what have you. So I think that's a good place to end it. I don't know if there's anything more we need to cover. You can peruse your Twitter if you want. Other than that, yeah, we can probably cut it short, and you can go to your concerts. You got another show coming up with Mike, don't you?
Yes, we
Per hour?
will. Yes, unless I get cheap tickets and we reschedule for tomorrow. We shall see. It's been a hellish 3 days of technical issues, but we've put the tin cans together, and we've used the MacGyver strategy of chewing gum and paper clip, and we're able to splice together a show with chewing gum, paper clip, and a tin can and string. We got you a show today, doggone it. Blake, tell people where they can find you, find more about you, sir.
You can find me at TV's Blake Walley on Twitter X, and the archive is on thenextlevelnews.com.
Excellent. All right, perfect. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything. Great job today, as usual. And we will see you again on Tuesday. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Have a great weekend, Blake. Thank you so much.
All right. You too. All right. Bye.
There he goes, everybody. TV's Blake Walley. Make sure you follow him. Also, he's on Cash App at $Blake W99 if you want to wish him a belated happy birthday. Belated happy birthday. New spork. Okay, so Kenneth, see where that joke comes in with new spork instead of New York? That we would use a spork in the hands of Kamala in the word salad thumbnail picture. See, like we got to weave these back together. That they would be holding sporks, new spork. It's up to you, new spork, new spork. Bum, bum, ba-na-na. Anyway, I appreciate every one of you watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, The New American Media, Rumble, The New American Media, Spotify, The Agree to Disagree Show, on X at American_media_ on Truth Social at The New American Media, on Spotify, The Agree to Disagree Show, and The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, on Facebook, The New American Media, on Instagram, The New American Media, on Telegram, TNAM and TNAM Chat, and on Signal, TNAM and TNAM Official. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Kenneth, and Valiant Thor, and Tim, and our Deep State handler, and Miss Ginger Powder. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back on Tuesday. Appreciate you. Love you.